Well, welcome back to week 2. This week we're dealing with a market revolution and then sort of the fallout of that market revolution around the globe. So are you ready for that roller coaster ride? You ready to go over that top like we talked about last time? I mean, I'm getting excited. I don't know about you. Ready to throw my hands up and scream. Ready? Let's get at it. So in part 1, we're going to talk about the market revolution. And we're going to do this in 2 parts. So the first part is let's think about where were we? The Industrial Revolution so far. What has happened? Well, there have been some problems, and there were certain choices that people made. The problems were things like, there was an ecological restraint. The trees were running out. Fuel was running out. They needed another source of fuel. Let's go dig some mines and get some coal out of there. And the problem with that is that as you dig into the earth, it'll flood with water. You need something to pump it out. It was a practical way to solve a problem. It's problem solving. That would be one. The other one, what would be the solution, is to build a steam engine that can pump that water out of the ground. And that's what they did. Another one was transportation of goods. How do we get more raw material to the manufacturers across river, across roads, across seas and oceans? How do we do that quicker and able to handle more load? Well, you do that by taking your steam engine and you apply it to locomotives, to trains. Lay down rail tracks and push it across boxes and boxes and boxes of cotton or whatever it is that you're hauling. You create it on steamboats so that now you can go upriver. You can do it pretty quickly with very large loads, even though the stream is going against you, which prior to this was a big problem, made things very, very slow. And we looked at that last time. Or you put the steam engine on a ship with a big, huge paddle wheel, and now you're going across oceans. It doesn't matter whether the wind's bad, the weather's bad, it doesn't make any difference. It will still haul across oceans. So these were ways to make practical machines to apply to everyday kind of problems. They were problem-based. So what kind of new situation does this put us in? Where's the globe now? Well, this causes new power centers to emerge. Now, when I say new, that's sort of like in quotes, because England, France, to some degree United States, but not as far as like might. But England definitely, France definitely, these are your historical power centers. And with England taking the lead in the Industrial Revolution, they are a huge power center that is emerging, not only from the standpoint of colonization and trade routes. Now they have the mechanisms, the machinery, the invention to really propel their industry forward. France is sort of there too. They're trying to get up with everyone else. And eventually the United States is going to pick up momentum and they're going to join in. They're going to have faster transportation, transport larger goods. It's going to be faster because of the infrastructures that are being built, railways and things that are being built within continents, within land masses. There's going to be new centers of industry. I don't have to put everything near the ocean, near the seaports anymore. I can, because of trains or because of steamboats, I can put a lot of things internal. If the coal factories are on the inside, the inner part of the inland part of the mass, then I can bring my supplies, my raw products to the coal mine and build my factories there. So this shift of industry centers is another one. The other one that's going to come up is the migration into cities. As these factories boom, as the industry explodes, people are going to move to where the money is, where the jobs are. And that's going to be, of course, within the cities, these big industrialized cities. There's going to be increased production rate. You're not going to be limited by cost factors on how much land you can have and how much land can you plant. because you know whatever you plant, whatever you buy, you're going to be able to sell it. The production rates are going to go through the roof. And this means that there are huge market opportunities all over the place. And where there are markets, there's money to be made and profits to put in your pocket. So this is what is called the market revolution. Yet another revolution. Seems like Mr. Wilson likes revolutions, doesn't he? So let's take a look at this. Let's give an example. I want to buy some clothes. I want to buy some clothes. So as part of that supply chain, how do I, the consumer, the market end, the customer, get clothes? Well, in part, I need a supplier. And so if it's cotton, it's a cotton shirt or something, it needs a cotton supplier. So according to the map, if you look at this map, probably 2/3 of all cotton used by England in their textiles at this time comes from that little portion of the southern part of America. And that cotton needs to be planted, harvested, brought in, and then brought all the way over across the sea into England. And that would be your production leg of this supply chain. There are the factories. They're going to take the steam engines that propel machines that will tear apart, shred apart the cotton and take all the big bad parts out of it, put in some good stuff, et cetera, and then produce that into thread, yarns or whatever, and produce clothes. And of course, from there, then the finished products go out to market. And England produced markets all over the place, whether it be more east, India, they put so much product in India, whether it be down into South America, back into the United States region, the upper region in Canada, that area. No matter where they went, they always had new product to put in. So how does this then influence those particular legs? Supplies. Let's look at supplies for a moment. Machines increase the speed and the volume of crop and mining products. I can pull more coal out. I can plant and harvest more crops. Train, steamboat, steamships are able to transport larger amounts of whatever it is I happen to be supplying, whatever raw material, in a faster amount of time. Less time is needed to get it to the manufacturers, to the production stage. So suppliers, if I'm a planter, a cotton planter in the South of America, I now have opportunity to plant and harvest a ton of cotton, a ton of tobacco, or whatever it is that I happen to be the planter of, and get it all off, sell it at a good price, put that money either back in my pockets or put it back into my operation. I can get a bigger plantation, plant more crops, et cetera, et cetera. So this means huge financial gains for the supplier end. But as you know, as you move along the chain, you end up with the opportunity to make more and more money. So at the production phase, this is back in England again. Back in England, there's a massive influx of raw materials. I can get anything I want to make whatever I want from anywhere I want really fast. And I can get a whole lot of it. And because I'm buying more, I can pay a little bit less per handful, right? You know, you go to the grocery store and you get a little basket of strawberries that costs you, $5. You go to some big warehouse kind of grocery outlet, Costco or something like that, and you get for the same price, you get something that's about this big, right? Because Costco's buying bulk. They're buying huge amounts. Same thing here. They're able to buy in bulk and pay less, which means when they sell it on the other end, they'll make more profit. This also means that they can put in more factories. Factories are starting to pop up everywhere. They need access to cheap labor. That need increases. I need people that can handle the machinery, make sure that everything goes through the way it's supposed to. And that means that outputs of product explode. And the processing cycle, this cycle of going through it, as the Industrial Revolution itself is progressing, machines are evolving, so to speak, into doing the job better and faster, production cycle is dramatically decreasing. I can turn product out in a very short amount of time. If I could put product out and I can sell the product to some market, that means I got money in my pocket. And then you have markets. So how do markets work? Well, this is going to be, with all this going on in supply leg and in the production leg, that means there's greater product that's going to hit my market. If I'm a marketer, one of those. If I'm somebody who has a shop and I'm selling this stuff, I'm selling it to some market somewhere, then I now have greater amount of product to sell. My costs are going to go down. It costs the factories less to produce, therefore they sell it to me at a reduced price, therefore I can sell it at a greater profit. So time to market also is shortened. If I order product from England and I'm in India, I can get it into India in a fraction of the time that I used to take through railroads, through steamships, things of that sort. So again, it means I need more infrastructure. If I'm the end man, I'm on the coast somewhere, I'm on the port coast. Let's say I'm in Bombay, India, and I want to grab new markets. I want to be able to get into and then branch out and get into more different markets internally to my continent or wherever I happen to be at, my country that I'm at. So I want to invest in that infrastructure. We're going to build that infrastructure. And of course, England, as I said before, is the global powerhouse. They are the ones that are really taking off. They have the trade networks already in place, and they have the backing to get it done. So what's next? How does this influence the rest of the world? What's going on? How do the market ends sort of react to this? What happens internally in these factories, in these production centers? What about in the supply end? What happens there? New situations are being created, and that means there are new problems and new opportunities. So people have some choices to make, and we're going to find out what that is next. So let's look at these problems, problems and opportunities. So on the supplier's end, they're going to try to grow or harvest or mine more. That means I need more laborers. So what the Industrial Revolution does, what this market revolution does, is it revitalizes slavery. So didn't know that, did you? So as we get turned from 1700s and we have the all men are created equal bit and we're getting liberty into democratic revolution is spreading and the ideas are spreading. We have the Haitian Revolution and we got the slave uprising, all this. As that's happening, there is a hope of an end to slavery. There is an attitude growing out of the Christian mindset, mostly, that all people are created equal because they're created in the image of God. So therefore, we all have intrinsic value. Well, if that's happening, then by the time you get to the 1800s, before the market revolution hits, the need, the profitability of using slave labor begins to drop. It becomes harder and harder to gain a profit and maintain your slave labor group. So what happened at that first 25 years of the 1800s is there was a drop, a lowering in the need of slaves. We had the abolishment of slavery in Britain. We had the prohibition by Thomas Jefferson that slave trade would not be allowed constitutionally anymore in the early 1800s. First 10, I think it was 1809, 1806, no, 1809. So that was on a drop. But the Industrial Revolution just popularized the need for more slaves. the plantation owners are going, I can make a whole lot of money if I can make a whole lot of crops come in. So I need more slaves. And so we see, even though there was a drop initially, there's another rise again. The need for slaves to make a profit becomes important. I'm going to say that again. The need for slaves to make a profit becomes important again. That is really, really, really important. So about 1830s through the 1860s, there is a huge debate, a huge mad dash to use slaves to make as much money as possible. And that's going to become a huge problem later on. What about the producers, the people that are manufacturing this? Well, they need to build more factories. They're going to grow more favorable locations. Like I said, moving towards the coal mines, moving wherever they need to be, maybe moving closer to the markets. And they're going to ramp up production machinery. They're going to really, really, really start to crank out as much product as possible. Well, what might that end up meaning? Well, you might end up with overcrowding in certain areas where people have flocked to sort of maintain, supervise these machines, these factories. Your cities are going to get crowded. Living spaces are going to get smaller. And as living spaces get smaller, people get crowdy into certain areas. We're going to see more pollution. There's going to be more pollution that's going to be within the, kind of like the LA fog that you come into, or smog that you get into. Same thing, but perhaps much worse in places like London, things like that, where all these people are living. So you end up with rise in disease. You need food. You have all these people coming in to work. Where are you going to get the food? You're using your food to go over and produce raw materials or to lay down tracks. Who knows? So there's this problems here on the producing end also. What about on the market side? Well, they're looking for buyers deeper inland. This is kind of what I was talking about before. So they're going to start encouraging the buildup of infrastructures, railroads, roads, the use of steamships, steamboats within riverways and things like that. And they need to find favorable access to buyers. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, they got to get rid of any hindrances to people who are going to buy. They're in foreign countries with foreign values and foreign governments. And if that government rises up, as we'll see later in this week's videos, as a government rises up and say, I don't want you here, then the people who are trying to sell have to figure out some way to gain accessibility to the people who are going to buy. Now, again, if money is a driver, back to Machiavelli, same passions are driving human events. If money and the lust for money, the drive for riches, if that is a goal, if that's a driver, then at some point in the future, some point in this time frame, you're going to get people who are going to smash or find some illegal or illicit way of getting around these hindrances so that they can get their products to market and sell it. That's going to be another issue. But bottom line on everything, whether you're a supplier, whether you're a producer, a manufacturer, whether you're in the market, you want to protect yourself. You want to preserve your self-interest. And that's another one of those Machiavellian kind of passions. I want to survive. I want to succeed. I want to be the one that puts the most money in my pocket. Those drives, those passions are definitely going to be really big between 1830 and 1870. And that is kind of what brings up this next sort of question. These particular places, France, the Dutch, even the United States later on, and big time Great Britain, they're looking at the question, so what do we do with this newfound power? We have the market, we have the product, we have the suppliers, we have the ability to get it where we need to go. We have the power to make a lot of money, to monopolize an entire industry. We could be the industry leaders in the world. How do we do that? What's next? Where do we go? And that's what we're going to look at in our next video, The Marketing Revolution Part 2. So stand by.